onto the very last part of the Urban Ninja build. Then we can actually go out and fly if the weather allows. With me tonight, as per usual, we have none other than Mr. Chris Purcell. Good evening, Chris. How are you?
Not bad, Matt. Not bad. It's been a while since we've done this, I think, but glad to be back on it and ready to finish.
Yeah, well, it's totally my fault because, yeah, I did something to my back last week. And as I said to you in the sort of build up, I was unable to even sit at my computer, let alone do anything else. So, yeah, that's
too much yoga, eh?
Yeah, far too much yoga. You know, I'm a sucker for it. You know, I like to do that, keep fit, all those different poses. Yeah, that's me all over. No, it was just something totally random, totally random. So I have sent the link to Mr. Graham, and let's just get this open. Right. Oh, no. Don't do that. So I was talking over myself there. Okay, very rude. Very rude to interrupt myself. Okay, do we need to do a share? Let's do a little share. Hopefully Nick doesn't mind if I share it on Fortuna Found. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that, and let's do that. One more, and we will get into it. Okie dokie. So, what are we going to do this evening? We are going to punch some holes in the kite. We are going to cut our bridle line. We're going to tie our bridle line, and we're going to frame the kite. So you will need your frame, your pre-cut frame. This was pre-cut by a helpful individual who shall not be named. You will need your bridle line. You will need a lighter or fire of some kind. If you don't have fire, a soldering iron will do-ish, but really fire. Sharp pair of scissors and your sail and one of these, a long measuring stick. So first things first, we are going to find our, this wasn't mentioned, hole punch, or soldering iron for the holes. And we're just gonna crack on. And yeah, Chris, if you keep an eye out for the comments, say good evening, everyone. If you're anyone that's watching, I will also put the Zoom link on the live stream there. Is that it? There we go. That was it. Come and join us if you so wish. And we'll just do this. Switch to this. There we go. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is make some holes. Now, this is probably going to set Chris's OCD off massively, but I'm not actually going to measure for holes. I'm going to eyeball more or less in the center, and I'm going to leave myself a couple of millimeters. I will now demonstrate this and what I mean. So get to my handy hole punching tool. I'll line it up, give or take. Make sure I'm in the reinforcement, but make sure I give myself a bit of meat to work with. And that is that. So I don't know if there we go. There's the contrast. You can see that is more or less in the center. Good bit of meat on there. Okay, and that's it. And then we're going to move to the next one. It's obviously That is a good shout there, Chris. Now I've done a 3mm hole in that. Now I think the plan also recommends a 3mm hole, but really you could get away with a 2mm hole as long as the bridle line passes through. Be fine.
Yeah, it's less critical, isn't it? That one. It is literally just for the bridle line.
It's just for the bridle line to pass through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it's also worth mentioning. I just dove straight into that because I'd already made sure I had a nice crease. Make sure you've got a nice sharp crease, a center crease, okay, on each of your patches. Have a look through, make sure they line up. Okay, so we're going to do another one. Get the old.
Oh, Alan's joined us.
Alan.
We're going to drop into the Zoom, Alan.
I think he already is. He's just joining us now.
Excellent.
Do this next.
Cool.
Call.
Be good to see how others are getting along as well with this. I know there's been a few people that are building along because we've.
Yes, I have had pictures. Stefan is one that's sent me pictures. He doesn't follow along live with the builds. He catches up afterwards, but he's been doing a great job. He's made another couple of gliders as well. Very good builder. We got Trevor in Victoria in Canada. He's been sourcing the materials, and I think he's building along. Who else have we got? I'm trying to think. Of course, none other than Mr. Alan P, who this week, or this weekend, I should say, has built himself a couple of very, very nice looking speaker stands.
Hi guys, good evening.
Evening, Alan. How are you?
Fine. I have only just finished cleaning my work table down from all the woodworking I've been doing.
Yeah, so you switched from speaker stands to kites seamlessly.
Well, not quite seamlessly, yeah, but
you are definitely multi-talented, aren't you?
It's just finding something to keep me occupied, Matt.
Oh yeah, you and me both. You and me both.
Anyway, how is your back? I didn't hear the beginning of your video.
My back is much better, actually. Thank you, Alan. I don't know what I did to it last week, but yeah, it put me out of action for a couple of days, to be honest, and then just gradually went away. I did have some brutal physio from the wife, so that set me on my way.
Well, I'm sure that's
a
very handy thing to have.
I actually think it was the threat of more physio that made it get better twice as quick. Yeah.
I assume she isn't listening in.
She isn't listening in. Now, anyone that's met my wife would think that she's so tiny that she couldn't possibly hurt a fly. No, I'm here to tell you that the opposite is true, and she is a bully. A big mean bully.
Trained, you know, specially trained.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So,
just while you're doing that, we've had Richard drop in saying he missed the beginning because of connection issues. And where are we making the holes for the reinforcements?
Richard, is that our friend Richard? Is that Rich? Is that Rich? You did a build along with us before? I'm sure you did. Anyway, I'll show you the placement for the holes in the reinforcement. I literally eyeballed dead center with the kite folded in half and gave myself a good couple of millimeters meat. Yes, Rich, it is you. Sorry, mate, I couldn't remember your last name, and I didn't want to go off on one talking about how much I liked your kite if it wasn't you. But it is you, so welcome. You're welcome to join us in the Zoom. The link is, hold on, here. There we go. Yes, so in the center, and give yourself a couple of millimeters of meat at the edge. Okay, and that's the same all the way down.
Bill is here too. Hello, Bill.
Bill is watching on the big screen. I miss Bill and Graham because they are my flying buddies, and I haven't seen them in a few weeks now. What with lockdown and everything like that, my bad back and the weather being atrocious, yeah, it's not been conducive to lots of flying. So, time for some measuring and cutting. I need to reach for my marking pen, which is in my daughter's pencil case. Don't tell her I've been in here.
I was going to say, is it your pen or are you nicking the?
Well. This is said pencil case. Okay, she is 4. Okay, but in the pencil case, I believe these belong to Daddy for sure. Anyway, it's a bit of a borrow. It's a borrow back, right? So we're going to measure our bridle line. Now you've got a choice of 3 bridle lengths. You can go for a 580, a 600, or a 620. Now, what I would recommend is to start with, go with the 600, which is nice and in the middle, and that will give you quite a balanced feel to the kite. So first thing to do is we're going to measure 600 millimeters all the way down to here, and I'm going to make a little mark, and then I'm going to cut with my sharpest scissors on the mark. Oh, they're not that sharp. Now you don't have to go crazy with the doing of the ends yet. I'm literally just flashing them. We're going to put proper ends on these in a minute. So that's our 600 for the bridle. Next up is going to be our Y line, which is 720. So we're going to measure again all the way up to here, 720. And we're going to make a little mark. Now, bridle line. Chris, can you remind me? Oh, yes, we are using the Lyros or Lyros DSL 35. How do you say that?
Dan?
Something newtons. Well, yeah, 35 Dan. Yeah, 35 Dans. That's, I would say, a little bit on the thick side. If I show you this, oh god, it looks much thicker on the camera. No,
it's probably the upper end of what you want, isn't it? I think the instructions say to go for whatever the smallest is that you can get, but we've built a couple of these with this and it works. So
yeah, well, yeah, that is quite. It looks a lot chunkier on the camera. This is what I would normally use, and this is just about right. But what's the dimension? Is it 0.75, something like that?
Yeah, it's something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. So you want to go for like a 0.75 diameter, reasonable. It doesn't have to be super strong, but just something that will be nice and light. Right, so that was a 720. Next up is the X line, 820. Just give that a quick flash. All the way up to 820 here. And then we will cut like so. And then we need, what do we need? We need our Z line, which is 130. So just a little tiny one. $30 is there. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so once you've cut your lines, I'm just going to give everybody a little minute to catch up, just in case I've rattled through it, although I don't work particularly quickly. Let's see if there's any questions. No. Okay. Where are we up to, Chris?
I am up with you. I've also made a short pigtail as well for mine.
Oh yes, a leader. Yes, that's a good idea. So
While you've got the line out.
Yeah, whilst we've got the line out, I'm going to do one of these. So basically just pick a length. Doesn't really matter, but something in the region of between 150 and 200 long. Doesn't have to be specific. Okay. Right, now this is one of the key parts of the way this bridle works. We don't need, well, I'll keep this out just for checking, just in case I make any horrendous mistakes. So the key part of the way this bridle works is that it uses something called pen loop knots. Okay, so in order for these to work, we need to have like a decent sort of bulb on the end of our lines before we go to tie them up. So the way you do that is, now the lengths of these lines are designed so that they will take into account we're going to melt some of the line down to make our bulbs on the end. Okay, so the way to do this, now if you refer to the plan, an ideal way is that have I got pliers to hand? I don't think I have. So normally what you would do, now I'm going to do it by eye. I'm certainly not going to do it in my hand, but you would hold, imagine my fingers are a set of pliers. Okay. You're going to let 4 mil out. You're going to heat it up, and then you're going to squash it down so that it makes a sort of flanged end. Okay, now what I found is I can get the same sort of result and I find it a bit quicker. I'm going to heat it up and then I'm going to press it onto this metal surface to make the bulb. Okay, so just going to get a tiny, we're aiming to use approximately 4 mil of each end to make your bulb. I'm doing the Z line first. I'll go through the lines as we do it, because on one we don't have to do it. So we're going to heat it up a bit, and then we're just going to knock it back on the metal surface. Same on this one. Heat it up a bit and then knock it back on the metal surface. And you'll find that, I don't know if you can see that very well. camera's out of focus, but yeah, you get a nice sort of bulb, a flanged bit at the end. Okay.
Like a little mushroom shape you're looking for.
Like a little mushroom shape. That's it. That's the best way to describe it. Okay, so the next we're going to take is our bridle line. Yeah, our actual bridle line that goes at the top and bottom of the kite. So that will have one of these on both ends. Okay, so
I guess it is important to point out as well that you do actually need this large flat surface on the end of the bridle, otherwise the knots won't work. They will just pull apart.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so you need to make sure there's a nice bulb there. And same this end. Although to be honest, that's already got quite a nice one on it. So I'm just going to take it back a bit. Okay. So that's that. What's our next one is going to be our, let's do our Y line. Oh, actually, let's do our X line, which is the longest. Okay, 820. This is going to have one at both ends. Nice. And we're going to do the same this end. Okay. And then our Y line, we only need to do one end. So just flash one end and make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And then put your bulb at the other end. Perfect. Okay. Now I can take this off and we can start to tie some knots. So we will start with, put the Z to one side. Let's start with the bridle. So let's just find which one is the bridle. It's the shortest one of the three longer ones. Put those to one side. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to thread through. That would help if I showed you what I was doing. So we're going to go through both sides of the hole, first of all. Okay, so you can see like that. It would help if I went through the right hole. Thread through the top hole first, so the very top of the kite. I'm at the top of the kite, and I'm going to try and be as clear as I possibly can in tying this. So we're going to take the short end. Okay, so this is the short end. We're going to pass that round the back. Give yourself plenty to work with whilst you're just getting the method. So the short goes round the back of the long. Okay. You then take it round the back of the other side. So what you've got if I show you that there is, you've got an overhand knot around this long piece. Okay, hopefully you can see that. We'll go through it again in a minute. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this knot as up and close as we can here. You can pull this little tail end. Okay, and this is where the pen comes in. We're going to open the kite up. We're going to put up, this is a pencil, but it works just the same. So we're going to put our pencil in like that. It's almost like a placeholder. And then we're going to, with the pencil in place, okay, we're going to pull this knot up tight. Now it takes a bit of manipulation, okay, and don't be afraid to pull it tight, okay, but once you've got it, should look like that when the pencil's in, okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to slip the pencil out, and we're going to leave that loop for our spine to go through once we're ready. Okay, so if you look on the front of the kite, you can see it there. So we're going to take the other end of our bridle line now, and we're going to go through the bottom hole on the kite, this one. Okay, so same as before, thread through both holes like that. Okay, and just like before, we're going to pass underneath. Okay, we're then going to go round over the top and back through. So if you can see that, but that's going back through the hole. So we have tied, hopefully you can see it on the blue a bit better, we've tied an overhand knot around this long line going back to the top of the bridle. Okay, so the way we cinch that up is we're just going to pull the small overhand knot as close as we can get it to begin with. Okay, so we've got it sort of loosely where we want it. Going to take our pencil, going to slot it through like that, and then holding the pencil, we're going to pull that nice and tight. Okay, I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on that to get it to pull up. Okay, and then once we're done, just gonna slip the pencil out there, and we've got this loop. So we've got a loop here still. There is a loop there, trust me.
Disappears.
Loop here, loop here. And then the next thing to do is we're going to do our Z line in exactly the same way. Okay, so grab our Z line, the little tiny one. Okay, and exactly the same method, exactly the same. So try and demonstrate this to you. We thread through both holes, okay, like that. So you can see we've gone through both holes. We're going to, now it's a little bit harder, it's a little bit trickier when you haven't got a lot to play with, but you can give yourself some slack. You don't have to tie it really close and tight, because we're going to tighten this up as we go. So give yourself plenty of material, both sides. Okay, you're going to take one, go round the back of the other. Okay, and then in and underneath and round and through, just like that. And then gradually pull that knot together. Okay, and then we stick our pencil in. Just like that. And then we're just gonna pull it up nice and tight. Like so. Okay, and then we can slide the pencil out. There we go. Should look something like that at the moment. Was that fairly clear, everybody at home?
Pretty
I
good.
don't know. Peter Loop is here. Hi, Peter. Good evening. Good day. Hopefully, Alan, could you follow that? I know you know what you're doing, but did it make sense to you what I was saying? You muted. Just
Yeah, we got that.
okay.
Yeah, just fiddling with. I've made the holes quite small, so I'm having to use a bit of a cheat. I don't know if you can see
Let's
this.
have a look. Let's have a look. Hold on.
You know the needle thread you use on a sewing machine.
Yeah.
To go through the hole on the little bit of cord through. I don't know if you can't really see the wire. It's so fine, but it's the needle thread you use on the sewing machine to thread the needle on the sewing machine. It's also very good for getting the line through these little holes that we've put in the sail.
Very nice. Very handy. Handy tip there. So if you're struggling, you can use one of those. Okay, let's go back to here. Now, which bit do we want to do next?
Probably your X, I would imagine.
Yeah. Right. I tell you what we're gonna do is we're going to join the X and Y lines together. Okay, so you have your X and your Y. The Y is the shorter one of the two. So at one end, it's got this bulb or this flange, this mushroom shape here, and the other is just a fairly standard flashed end. It doesn't matter if you've got a mushroom shape at both ends, it won't make a difference to what we're doing. But if you've only got one, we're using that end, and we're going to make sort of effectively another pen loop, but this time we're going to do it instead of through a pen. We're actually going to use the bridle to do it. Okay, the X line. So we're going to tie the Y line around the X line. Okay, so let's use some blue contrasting material, and I'll try and make it so that it's clear. You can see what we're doing, so you can use it on the other knots if you haven't tied them yet. The previous ones we've done. Okay, so imagine that this is your pen, if you like. So this bit, this X line here, the long line that I'm holding in my hands now, this one, this is our pen. We're going to tie our Y line around that. So we go round like that. In fact, I'll do it from the other way. We're going to go round like this. So we now round this line. Okay, it goes through that loop there. We're going to go round the back here. So round the back, and then on this loop that we've created, we're going to go round the back and through the hole. So hopefully that becomes clear. We've tied our overhand knot around this piece here. Okay, so then all we're going to do is going to chase that up there, bring that as tight as we can. On this one, it does help if you can make it tight at the overhand knot part, so that we don't have to put too much force in. Okay, so we then got that, and all we're going to do is hold the X line and pull that up, and as we pull it up, we're just going to, it's a fraction too tight. You might have to work it a bit because it's such a small diameter. You might just have to bring that other knot in as close as you can. You can see what I'm doing, hopefully. So just bring that up like that. There we go. There we go. So now we have our X line here, and our Y line is tied around it. So we can move this in and out like that. Okay, there we go. So we need to make sure we know which bits are which for this next bit. So try and position your Y line so it's more or less in the center of your X line, like that. Okay. So now let's move on to the spine. So we're going to grab our long piece of carbon, which is 993 millimeters long, like that. Okay, and we're going to turn the kite over. And we are going to thread the spine all the way through our loops. Hopefully you can see that. Through that loop. And then down into the spine pocket that we made. Gently, you don't need to rush everything. So that's in there like that. We're going to take our nose connector. Now this is a, correct me if I'm wrong, this is an Elliott knock. Is that what we went for in the end, Chris?
I think that's what we went for in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't find the one that's actually originally specified, but again, we've tried this on a...
Yeah, the plan specifies a Jacko or Jayco connector. Okay, yeah. Basically, the connector doesn't really matter as long as it's a similar sort of length Okay. Actually, I've got, if I show you these are the these are connectors that I've used before. Okay, they work fine, but I typically just make a cut there to accept the bungee. These are like a rubbery type connector. Okay, this is a much harder connector, but in experiments, these proved to work very well. So we just went with one of these. Now,
It's
what you
essentially
do,
just a 3mm split knot connector, isn't it, really?
exactly, yeah. So you got a 3mm hole in the end there for your 3mm carbon. So we're gonna put that on the end there. And then, oh no, we're not. What we're gonna do first is I'm gonna actually thread my spine through my bungee like so. Okay, so I've gone through the bungee at the top. Stick my connector on the end firmly, and then pull the bungee up and sit it in the end of the connector. Now, that's it. I'm not going to do any more than that. I'm not going to tension it any more than that at this moment in time, okay, because we're still just working on the kite and keep it nice and slack. So now that we've got our spine actually in, okay, we're going to carefully tighten up these loops. Now they should tighten up quite easily because you've done the hard bit with the pen, but you're just going to hold the spine. Okay, let's turn this around. You're going to hold the spine underneath, and you're just going to pull the knot so it holds the spine tightly. You're going to do the same, working down, do the same with the Z line. Okay. It doesn't matter if it puckers up a bit. That will relieve that over time, and then we'll just do this bottom one. Okay, so now on the back you should see all of these are nice and tight against the spine. Lovely. Okay, so next up we need our two leading edges. Like so. It helps if you've got a friend to pre-cut your frame for you beforehand. It takes a lot of the donkey work out of it for sure. Thank you, Chris. You're very kind.
All right.
So what we're going to do is you should have two little stoppers or C-clips. If you don't have stoppers or C-clips, then you can make them either out of a rubber end cap, some PVC tape, just something to make stop the connector from moving. I would say it's a little bit more crucial than on other kites because you're basically sandwiching the bridle between this and your connector for the spreader connectors. But if you haven't got, you will just have to make do.
Yeah,
Now,
if you don't have C-clips, you do need quite a chunky bit of material there to stop the bridle.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to put our stoppers 138 mil from the end, from the top end. So I'm going to measure 138. I'm not going to mark it. I'm literally just going to snap it down in place. Okay, it's the first one. And then I'm going to do the same for the other. Find 138. And then snap it in place. Perfect. Okay. So,
Do you put any tape on yours to stop them moving, Matt?
no, I don't. I don't, to be honest. If you want to blob a bit of super glue or something like that to stop them moving, a bit of tape is a far less permanent but equally as good solution. By all means do. But to be quite honest, as we were talking about last session, I'm very much the sort of person that I'm not so fussed about where the stoppers are and if they move in flight, because I like to be able to see that and tune it back accordingly into the right position. So there we go. But if you want to stop them from moving, definitely a bit of tape. If you are taping them, you want to tape the top sides, not the bottom sides, because you
want to do the bottom sides.
You want to tape or glue the bottom sides, definitely not the top. 100% not the top. Okay, so just to be clear, the bottom, we're taping and gluing at the bottom, not the top. Thank you very much for that, Chris. You're entirely correct. So we're now going to try and get these rods down in there. So do one side at a time. We've got our nice cutaways, and we're going to thread them down in here. Now, you do also have to get the stopper down there for this next bit. Oh yeah, would help if I'd put holes in this particular sail, which I haven't. So everybody look away temporarily whilst I just do that. Looking away, looking away. So this hole that I punched earlier, I just move those. Yes, the rod goes back through the hole here, and then you have to try and persuade, this is the bit that I don't like, you have to try and persuade your C-clip to go up through your leading edge tube, which it has done on command very, very nicely. So now we have, go on.
If you tape just below your stopper to stop it moving down, you can use it as a reference, and while you are sliding the rod in, you can move your stopper up the rod, and then you don't have to put it down the leading edge tunnel.
Yeah, you definitely could do that. That would be an easier way of doing it. But you know me, I like to struggle through. Yes, that's a much better idea. Or even getting one of your daughters or your own Sharpies and marking where the C-clip was, even if you didn't want to fix it in place, which I could have definitely done. Anyway, back to struggling through. We're going to take, guess what we're going to do? We are going to be doing another pen loop, but because you've done so many now and you are so very good at it, we're doing this one without the pen and we're tying straight to the carbon fiber. So you need to make sure you have in your hand one of your X split offs. Do not tie the Y. Do not tie the Y to your leading edges. Okay, you have been told. All right. The way we did this earlier, when I tied it, I made sure that these two lengths were the same so that I knew I was picking up an X when I came to it, because I am the sort of person that would make that mistake. So we're going to tie a pen loop to this is on the back side. We are working on the back now. Okay, we're going to go round the carbon fiber. We're going to go under the long line. We're going to go around, under, and through. So that's what we've got, the same as we've done all the other times. Okay. And then once we're confident it has been tied correctly, we are going to cinch it up. So same as before, try and take up as much slack as you can from that overhand knot first. Okay, and then hold the carbon very carefully and just work that knot up. Now 3mm carbon is relatively fragile, so just be careful with it. So we now have our knot tied on. We're going to slip one of our spreader connectors on also, like that. So now we have spreader, knot, and in here, if you've done it like me, will be your C-clip somewhere. So we're now going to thread our rod back up the leading edge tube on the other side. Now it's worth mentioning before I thread that in, this end of the carbon fiber, this end that's going to go up here, okay, it's worth rounding this, making this as nice and less likely to snag your leading edge when you fly. So round that off nicely, and then we're going to just slide the tube back up just like that. Okay, so, and really you're feeling for the tube to sort of end, this end tube to finish more or less halfway up the reinforcement, or this end of the leading edge to be at the end of the sail. Okay, once you've done that, you can bring your spreader connector and your bridle down to meet your C-clip here, and then we're going to move on to the other side. Oh, this is getting a bit exciting, isn't it? I can tell you're on the edge of your seat there, Chris.
I actually am. Are you spying?
So same process again. Going to poke our rod down into, oh yes, there is a hole that is not a hole here as well.
Something slightly larger than 3mm as well for the tube to go through.
Yes. So there we go. Persuasion, persuasion, persuasion. Excellent. And then we get the other end of our X. Don't tie your Y. Don't tie your Y. Not at this stage. We've come this far not to make a mistake. Let's not make another one or one in the first place. So we're going to go round behind the carbon. We're going to go behind the long bit of the line, round. We're going to go behind the loop and then through, just like that. And then pull that together. Oh, you didn't see that.
See what?
And then we're just going to work that knot down. Don't break the carbon with your big fat hands. Okay, and then we're going to, what are we going to do? Oh yes, slip our spreader connector on, and then we're going to poke that up there. Okay, lovely. And then move everything down. Oh, that worked okay. So, whilst we're still here on the back of the kite, we're going to just head down to the tail, and we're going to do a double overhand knot through the tail. So you go in one side, come back out the other, like that. Okay, and then you'll tune this when you're flying, but I'm just going to sort of keep it relatively loose for the time being until this lower spread is in, and we're just going to do a double overhand knot. So one, and then two, just like that. Okay, so moving to the front of the kite, and it's almost there at this point. We are going to do another pen loop knot onto our spreader. So we're going to go round, just like that. You're going to go around the back, and then, oh, I've done this so many times, I'm cracking up here. Well, fingers and thumbs it. Around the back, that's it. This one is a bit fiddly. To be honest, you can make it into a loop before you attach it to the kite. Okay, so we have it like that, and position it more or less in the center. And then whilst we've got this handy, what we'll do is take our leader, okay, which is the arbitrary sort of length of cord that we cut earlier, and we're going to tie just a nice tight overhand knot in both ends. So one overhand knot, pull it tight like that, and then we're going to do the same this end. So you're going to have to do a bit of experimenting with the position that you put this part at. Okay, I would probably recommend that you have it quite far forward to begin with, but you can mess about. You'll find that bringing it towards the front makes it probably a bit more agile. So to attach this, what we're going to do is effectively do a lark's head in the bridle line, okay, which can be tricky. Okay, going to make that loop. I don't know if you can see that there. Then we're going to poke our pigtail through just like that, and then pull it tight. So then you just have this, and then, well, this is the exciting part, isn't it? Because this is it really. We're going to, on the front of the kite, so the Z line, this part comes out the front of the kite with the bridle. Okay, we're going to attach one end and push it into
Just while you're putting that in,
yes.
what
have I missed?
Well, there's another setting that you can change, and the default setting is in fact with 2 loops of the Z line around the spreader.
Yes.
I know how much difference it makes, but
yes. Well, I don't actually know how much difference it makes. I've done 2 with 2, and I've done 2 with 1, but I've not flown the 2 with 1 yet, if that makes sense. So we will see.
But it's worth having a play if people want to know.
Yeah, there's lots of settings on this kite that you can have a play with to get different types of flying out of it. So there we go. I have literally just finished. It needs some tensioning here and there. In fact, oh yes, that was it, the nose. So I'm going to just take this part of the, but now I might have done my bungees up slightly too tight. Oh, I think it'll go. Will it go? Go on. Come on, come on. There we go. We can just, if you want to tension it up, you can obviously use your Y line to do so. So you can just do what I'm doing, undo it a bit at the back, take some more in. I mean, you don't need a ridiculous amount. I actually like to fly with mine quite slack. I find you get a better glide, but if you want stability, it's nice to have a bit of a bend in the sail. That's it. So let me switch to, let's go for, oh no, wrong one. There we go. Ta-da! An Urban Ninja. We got there in the end. Sorry for the delay. Let's move that over a bit. So, Chris, you've got yours. Did you finish yours just now? Did you?
Yep, that's just finished up now.
Amazing. I can't wait to fly the On The Line Urban Ninjas together. Yeah, I have to say they do look very nice, don't they, once they're all assembled? Okay, right, let's have a run through. Let's see who else. Right, oh, Alan, right, have you finished yours? Are you?
Yep. Well, I've put all the lines on, as you can see.
Yeah.
My leading edge fittings are slightly different. They're tiny original trade winds fittings that I thought I would never be able to use.
Oh wow! Look.
So I'm going to use those. But as you mentioned earlier, Matt, I've been doing lots of big, heavy woodwork this week, and I've put my cut carbon somewhere very safe.
Yes. Well, I have to say, I put my bridle line somewhere very, very safe, and I did think for a short moment I was going to have to cancel for 2 weeks running because I'd put it so safely. There we go.
A couple of things, if I may. When we put the leading edges in, my leading edges, I've tended to use some tiny little vinyl end caps on the wingtip ends of my leading edges.
Yes, okay, that's a smart idea. Yeah,
I tend to put vinyl end caps because of the curve on that spreader. There is quite a lot of pressure into the wingtips on those leading edge spars. So just to protect the ends a little bit, I use the vinyl end caps. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I do, just so that I can find it and make sure it's the right side, on the front side, that little extension line, I make it a different colour so it's easy to find. when I'm
That's a
trying to
good
find it
idea.
on the bridle.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
So my bridle is black, but that little pigtail there on the end is bright
Yeah.
red. So you know where you're going to fasten your bridle on.
It looks like I need to take a Sharpie to some of my white bridle line to.
That'll work.
Yes. Yeah. I'll have to ask my daughter's permission first, obviously. Yeah. So, well, that's it. I've looked. There's no questions. I can't believe it. We've had plenty of viewers. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Thank you to everyone that has been supporting us. I'm sorry that we all have to be inside and we're all in lockdown and everything's. Oh, Rich is coming in at the last minute. We've got to let Rich in. Yeah, I'm sorry that we're all in lockdown and it's a bit miserable, but we try to do these things to keep people's spirits up. So hopefully it's working. It seems to be. We'll definitely be coming back for some more. Rich, let's have a look at your. Let's have a look at your. Oh, look, you've done a pink and blue one as well.
Very cool.
Look, that's amazing. Well done, Rich.
Excellent.
Oh, you've got some very nice kites in the background there. Let's have a look at your. Oh, look, you've done. Oh, that's me talking over myself again. Well, you know, awkward.
Cool. I have one question. I feel like my spreader is really hanging down towards the back of the kite instead of in front of the kite. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
I wouldn't worry too much because that's exactly how mine is.
Yeah.
And certainly on others that I've made, that's exactly how it is. So as long as it's doing the job of spreading, you should be good to go. Should be good to go. I can't believe you made a pink and blue one. I'm so happy. And I'm happy that you actually joined us. I hope you're really well.
I missed the first 3 weeks, to be honest. And
Well,
so then I
you've
caught
caught
up
up.
last weekend just in time. And then
yeah, so my bad back was a
Yeah.
blessing in disguise. How about that? Perfect. That's brilliant. Well, it's Rich. It's really, really nice to see you after so long. So, yeah, well, that's it from us for a little while. We're going to go away and we're going to plan the next one. If you guys want to have a next one, that is, certainly I do. I think Chris will be taking us through a rock. How about that? Well,
Through what?
we'll see. We'll see. A Rikaku, you know, maybe.
Oh, right.
Just say, I'm just throwing it out there. That would mean I'd have to actually persuade Chris to, take us through it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyone that wants to take part, anyone that's got any ideas, please feel free to send me a message. All messages will gladly be taken on board and your suggestions noted. And I think that's about it. That makes me sad. I don't think we'll be doing one this side of Christmas, to be honest. So much stuff going on. I don't think, but hopefully, Peter's saying a Burka fighter kite.
Booker.
A Booker. Okay.
Excellent.
Yes, well, that could be one, but Peter, we're going to need someone to talk us through it. We might have to change the times if you're prepared to do it. Well, I hope you all have a lovely festive period. I know it probably won't be quite the same for the majority of us, but we'll make it work. We'll get through it. Come on, 2021. We can't wait. We will try and put on another live before the year is out, just so that we can touch base, even if it's telling you about our next project, which gives us a few weeks, Chris, to, think about it.
Yeah.
Have a think. And to you all, much love. Merry Christmas, etc., etc. It's a bit early, but you might be watching it in a few weeks if you're just catching up. And we will see you all very, very soon. So big wave from everybody. Wave.